High above the world, Mount Olympus gleamed, home of the gods. A place where the divine and the mortal worlds intersected, where the air was thick with the essence of power and immortality. The mountain stood tall, its peaks piercing the heavens, a symbol of the gods' dominion over the earth below. A place of power, but not of peace. For within its majestic heights a storm was brewing, one that threatened to shake the very foundations of the gods' abode. The tranquility of Olympus was a fragile facade, masking the simmering tensions that lay beneath. Tension crackled in the air, like a fuse about to ignite. The skies darkened, and the once serene atmosphere turned ominous. The gods could feel the change, a palpable shift that signaled the coming of something monumental. The air was electric, charged with the anticipation of conflict. Ares, the god of war, glared at his father, Zeus, the king of gods. Their relationship had always been tumultuous, but now it was on the brink of explosion. Ares, with his fiery temper and insatiable thirst for battle, had grown weary of Zeus's rule. The tension between them was a ticking time bomb. His eyes burned with resentment. The years of being under Zeus's command had taken their toll. Ares' heart was a cauldron of anger and defiance, ready to overflow. He was no longer willing to be a pawn in his father's grand design. He was done with Zeus's tyranny. The god of war stood tall, his posture defiant, his spirit unyielding. He was ready to challenge the old order, to carve out his own destiny, even if it meant going against the most powerful being in the pantheon. The other gods felt it. They sensed the brewing conflict, the undercurrents of rebellion that flowed through Olympus. Their faces were masks of concern, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that a great upheaval was imminent. The shift in the air, a storm was brewing, not just in the skies above, but within the very halls of Olympus. The gods looked to the heavens, their eyes reflecting the storm clouds that gathered, mirroring the turmoil within their own ranks. A storm like no other, one that would test the bonds of family and the strength of the gods' resolve. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, as if the heavens themselves were heralding the coming conflict. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. They whispered amongst themselves, afraid to speak openly. The gods exchanged nervous glances, their conversations hushed. Fear and uncertainty gripped their hearts, for they knew that the outcome of this conflict could reshape the very fabric of their existence. The throne room pulsed with nervous energy, all eyes on Ares. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. The gods watched, their breaths held, as Ares prepared to make his move. The fate of Olympus hung in the balance, all knowing he was about to make his move. The moment had come. Ares, with a heart full of defiance and a spirit unbroken, was ready to confront Zeus. The gods braced themselves for the storm that was about to be unleashed, knowing that Olympus would never be the same again. Ares was a force of nature. Born from the union of Zeus and Hera, he embodied the raw, untamed spirit of war. His presence on the battlefield was like a storm, unpredictable and devastating. Muscles rippled beneath his armor, each one honed through countless battles. His strength was legendary, a testament to his relentless training and the divine blood that coursed through his veins. His eyes blazed with the thrill of battle, a fire that never dimmed. They were the eyes of a warrior who had seen countless conflicts, who had faced death and emerged victorious time and time again. He craved it, lived for it. War was his art, and the battlefield his canvas. Every clash of swords, every cry of victory was a stroke in his masterpiece. And he was a master. His strategies were unparalleled, his ferocity unmatched. He was the embodiment of war, a god among men. Zeus, on the other hand, commanded the sky. As the king of gods, he wielded power over the heavens, his dominion vast and unchallenged. Lightning crackled in his hand, a symbol of his authority and might. With a single gesture, he could summon storms, his power awe-inspiring and absolute. His voice boomed like thunder, a sound that could shake the very foundations of the earth. He was a ruler. Powerful and proud, his presence commanded respect and fear. But Zeus was also arrogant. His long reign had made him complacent, his confidence bordering on hubris. Used to getting his way, he had little patience for dissent. His will was law, and he expected it to be followed without question. He'd forgotten what it meant to fight. to struggle for every inch of ground, to face an enemy who could match his strength. To struggle, Ares had not. He'd tasted the dirt, felt the sting of defeat, and learned from it. Each loss was a lesson, each victory a testament to his resilience. Felt the sting of defeat. But he never stayed down for long. Every setback was a stepping stone, every challenge an opportunity to grow stronger. And he'd come back stronger. He knew Zeus's weaknesses, the cracks in his armor that arrogance had created. He was ready to exploit them. With the cunning of a seasoned warrior and the determination of a god, Ares prepared for the ultimate confrontation. The god of war was ready to challenge the king of gods. Ares had always chafed under Zeus's rule. He saw his father as a tyrant, a dictator. Zeus hoarded power, controlled everything. Ares believed in freedom, in letting others fight their own battles. He saw the potential in mortals, their strength, their resilience. Zeus looked down on mortals, treated them like pawns. Ares hated that. He wanted to empower them, to give them a chance. He knew he could be a better ruler, a fairer one. He would usher in a new age, an age of strength and glory. Hera, queen of the gods, watched from the sidelines. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, took in every detail of the scene before her. The grandeur of Olympus, the statues of the gods, all seemed insignificant compared to the turmoil brewing within her. A cunning smile played on her lips. She hated Zeus, her husband, and the king of the gods. Their marriage, once a symbol of divine unity, had become a prison of resentment and betrayal. Blamed him for her misery. Every slight, every infidelity, every moment of neglect had built a fortress of bitterness around her heart. She seethed with anger, her mind a whirlwind of dark thoughts. She saw an opportunity in Ares's rage. Her son, the god of war, was a tempest of fury and frustration. His anger was a weapon she could wield, a way to get her revenge. She knew that if she could direct his wrath, she could strike at Zeus where it hurt the most. Her mind raced with possibilities, each more devious than the last. She whispered in Ares's ear. Her words were like venom seeping into his thoughts, twisting his perceptions. She spoke of betrayal, of injustice, of the slights he had suffered at the hands of his father. Fanned the flames of his anger. Each word was a spark, igniting the fire within him. She reminded him of every insult, every moment of disrespect. His fury grew, a storm ready to break. She reminded him of Zeus's slights, his injustices. She poisoned his mind. Her voice was a siren's call, leading him down a path of destruction. She spoke of power, of vengeance, of taking what was rightfully his, turned him against his own father. The bond between father and son, once strong, was now frayed and fragile. Hera's words were the final blow, severing the ties that bound them. Ares, blinded by rage, fell for her trap. His mind was consumed with thoughts of retribution. He could see only one path forward, a path that led to the throne of Olympus. He was ready to strike. His heart pounded with anticipation, his muscles tensed for the battle to come. He would confront Zeus, challenge him, and take what he believed was his by right, ready to take what he believed was rightfully his, the throne of Olympus. In his mind, he saw himself victorious, standing over his fallen father, the crown of the gods upon his head. Hera's manipulation had set the stage for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the divine realm. Clash of the Titans, the battle begins. The tension finally snapped. Ares roared a challenge. Zeus laughed, a dismissive sound. He didn't take his son seriously. Big mistake. Ares lunged, his spear a blur. Zeus deflected it. Lightning flashed. The battle had begun. The other gods scattered, taking cover. They'd never seen such fury, such raw power. The very foundations of Olympus shook. The sky turned blood red. The air crackled with energy. This was no ordinary fight. This was a battle for the ages. Olympian Frey gods choose sides. The other gods couldn't stay neutral for long. They had to choose sides. Aphrodite, goddess of love, sided with Ares. She'd always been drawn to his strength, his passion. Poseidon, god of the sea, joined Zeus. He valued order, stability. Hephaestus, god of the forge, hesitated. He was a builder, not a fighter, but he couldn't stand by and watch his family destroy itself. He chose Zeus, hoping to reason with him to end the madness. Ares' fury unleashed, Zeus on the defensive. Ares fought like a man possessed. His anger fueled him, made him unstoppable. He pushed Zeus back, blow after blow. Zeus, caught off guard, struggled to defend himself. His lightning bolts seemed to lack their usual power. Ares was relentless. He wouldn't stop until Zeus was defeated. He moved with a speed Zeus couldn't match. His spear found its mark again and again. Zeus was bleeding, his armor dented, his pride wounded. A fatal blow, the fall of Zeus. Zeus faltered just for a moment, but it was all Ares needed. He gathered all his strength, all his rage, and struck. The spear pierced Zeus's chest, a direct hit. Zeus cried out, a sound of pain and disbelief. He fell to his knees. His lightning bolt rolled away. His eyes dimmed. The king of gods was dead, slain by his own son. Silence fell over Olympus. The gods watched in stunned silence. The impossible had happened. A new order Ares rules Olympus. Ares stood over his father's body. His chest heaved. He'd won, but at what cost? He felt no joy, no triumph, only a hollow emptiness. He was the new king of Olympus, but what kind of king would he be? The other gods approached cautiously, unsure of what to do, what to say. Ares looked at them, his eyes cold, hard. He was no longer the god they knew. He'd been changed by the battle, forever marked by it. Echoes of the battle, a changed world. The news of Zeus's death spread like wildfire. Mortals and immortals alike trembled. The balance of power had shifted. The world would never be the same. Some celebrated Ares' victory. Others feared his rule. But one thing was certain. The battle between Ares and Zeus would echo through the ages, a reminder that even gods can fall, and that power, once seized, comes at a terrible price.